Hello, friends. The 834th day of the war between Russia and Ukraine continues. Yesterday, Commander-in-chief Zelensky announced a difficult situation near Kupiansk. The enemy is trying to break through the defenses of our troops from two directions. Fierce fighting is taking place. Despite the complexity of the situation, we have a chance to change the situation in our favor, and the defense forces are doing everything possible for this, the commander-in-chief writes. Russian military telegram channels claim that Russia is attacking east of the village of Sinkivka, moving south from Vilshana. Ukrainian sources did not confirm this. Let me remind you that the other day a Ukrainian military man, near Kupiansk, said that they were sent on an ill-conceived assault in the Yevhenii area, which ended in heavy losses, and the wounded were not evacuated for a long time. That is, the situation in this area is really difficult. It is such because of the high intensity of hostilities and the widespread use of armored vehicles by the Russians, as well as a significant number of guided bombs, Zelensky added. Zelensky also commented on what was happening in the Kharkiv direction. According to him, the Russians are concentrating their main efforts there in the direction of Gleboki-Lipsy. And in Vovchansk, our main task at this stage is to contain the enemy, inflict maximum losses on him, and gradually move forward to liberate our territories. According to data from the Ukrainian side, battles continue in the border area for Staritsa and the northern part of the city of Vovchansk, where the situation has not changed significantly. An analyst of the Ukrainian military telegram channel Deep State states that the group of Russians in the occupied territories and along the border with Ukraine amounts to 500,000 people. This is a fairly large group. At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, the figure was, it seems, 170,000. In the Kharkiv region, we see to a certain extent the concentration of Russian forces, he said. In the Sumy direction, according to him, Russian troops are traveling, moving, concentrating, but this does not go beyond the informational occasion. He believes that for now the Russians in this area are forcing the Ukrainian armed forces to stretch their forces, but an offensive is also possible. State Border Service spokesman Timchenko said today that the Russian army continues to build up its forces on the northern border of Ukraine. He once again allowed the Russians to attack in the Sumy region or open a new front in the Kharkiv region. We see that the actions that the enemy continues to take to strengthen the group on the border with Ukraine, it can never be ruled out that he will be able to expand the combat zone in other directions, including within the Kharkiv region or Sumy region, but we see that the enemy does not have enough forces to achieve its strategic goal, Timchenko said. The fighting also intensified near Chasiv Yar. The Russians are intensifying their assaults, according to military officer Sazonov, who is stationed on this section of the front. According to him, in Chasiv Yar, separate groups of Russian infantry managed to break through to the Kanal micro-district, which was stormed from three sides for several days. This is the easternmost district of the city, located behind the Siversky Donets-Donbas Canal. There was also information about the beginning of the assault from the north of the Novi micro-district. In general, the situation is difficult. There are constant assaults and shelling both near Chasiv Yar and near neighboring Flishchiivka, Andriivka and Kalinivka. By the way, in the telegram channel Bakhmutsky Demon, of Ukrainian soldiers fighting in this area and reporting on the situation, a post was published today with one word: hell. In the Avdiivka sector, according to data from the Ukrainian side, the enemy advanced west of Arhangelsk and east of Novoalexandrivka in an area up to 3.84 kilometers wide and to a depth of 1.1 kilometers. In the eastern part of Novoalexandrivka, the enemy entrenched himself in the outermost houses along two streets. To the north and northeast of Novopokrovsky, Russian troops advanced in an area up to 1.16 kilometers wide and to a depth of 600 meters. North of Umensky, the enemy is pressing in the direction of Novoslivka Persia. South of the village of Pobieda near Maryanka, Ukrainian armed forces attacked enemy positions in the intersection area. Unfortunately, the enemy managed to gain a foothold in an area up to 3.12 kilometers wide and to a depth of 1.21 kilometers. Previously, there was also an enemy advance in neighboring Paraskoviivka. The main direction of the attack is the village of Konstantinivka. If the Russians take it, there will be a threat that they will enter the rear of the group of Ukrainian troops in the Vuhledar area, and the Russian offensive front south of Donetsk will generally expand. On the Zaporizhia front, southeast of Yevhenii, the enemy entrenched himself in an area up to 2.78 kilometers wide and to a depth of 900 meters. The deputy commander of the 65th Brigade, call sign Spaniard, who is fighting in this area, said that Yevhenii, whose capture Russia announced in mid-May, moved into the gray zone a week ago. There is no settlement as such, it has disappeared. It is just a straight area, you can plow a field on it. We hold the defense in trenches, there are no houses as such anymore. Yevhenii has not been captured, it is in the gray zone, our forces are there in them, said the military man. He says that in this area the military is experiencing a shortage of people and ammunition. Yesterday, the Department of Energy accused the Financial Times of working for Russia. In a statement, Ukraine's Energy Ministry said the Financial Times article, titled "Russia Destroyed More Than Half of Ukraine's Energy Industry," has signs of an information and psychological operation and is manipulative in nature and promotes enemy narratives. This is stated in a statement from the ministry. Let me remind you that the article stated that, since the beginning of the war, electricity production in Ukraine has fallen by more than half from 55 gigawatts to below 20 gigawatts, and Ukrainians will receive only 2 to 4 hours of light per day in January 2025 if the government does not take any action. Measures. The article uses references to anonymous sources in the Ukrainian government. This calls into question the reliability of the information provided, because it is not confirmed by official sources. The audience should understand that references to anonymous sources without specific confirmation are not reliable information, and conclusions can be manipulative. For example, an unnamed representative of the Ukrainian government claims in the article that we must prepare for life in the cold and darkness. Such a statement is aimed at spreading fear and panic among the population, the ministry's position says. The Ministry of Energy also called outright lies and manipulation the fact that the article stated that on May 31 it was decided to double electricity tariffs for the population. After all, the tariff increased by 63%, and there is a big difference between 60 and 100%, the department said. To give the material the appearance of authenticity, the article mixes true and false data and contains appeals to the reader's emotions. Now, in the Ukrainian information space, there has been a significant increase in the number of information leaks related to the topic of energy, which have signs of an information and psychological operation and are aimed at creating social tension, intimidation of Ukrainians, and the formation of distrust in the actions of the authorities during a difficult period. We ask you not to spread false narratives and disinformation playing along with the enemy, and not to speculate on a topic that is sensitive to society, the statement says. And now to reality. Now I am writing this text, receiving electricity from a gasoline generator, which we collected for in 2022. Yes, the Financial Times article is not accurate, but there is one catch. I would like to remind you that in the spring of 2022, officials and even the President of Ukraine promised not to increase housing and utility tariffs until the end of the war. This promise was first broken in July 2023, when the Cabinet of Ministers raised the cost of a kilowatt-hour for the population from 1 hryvnia 44 kopecks to 2 hryvnia 64 kopecks. In 2023, the tariff increase was explained by Russian shelling of the energy system. They say that funds are needed for repairs and restoration of capacity. Billions were spent, and we were assured that now Russia would not be able to cause significant damage to the energy system. And so, from the 1st of June, the tariff for the population was again raised from 2 hryvnia 64 kopecks to 4 hryvnia 32 kopecks. In my personal opinion, the government should support its people, and not vice versa. And in conclusion, great news. Ukrainian officials are irritated by the attention of the U.S. ambassador in Kiev Bridget Brink to the problem of corruption in the country, reports NBC television, citing representatives of the Ukrainian authorities. According to representatives of the Ukrainian authorities, it creates unnecessary tension and loses attention to the issue of victory. That's all I have for today. Friends, I remind you that this channel exists solely thanks to your support. If you have the opportunity and desire to support the channel, I will be very grateful to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.